Personal development. Sales success is a journey to personal development. Ask yourself this: would you buy from someone who does not have a good personality? You wouldn't, right? It's human nature. You're always attracted to someone who has a good personality. Personal development therefore plays a very crucial role in ensuring sales success. In this section, we're going to discuss how can you become a reliable, genuine, and confident salesperson. Say, for example, you want to sell an insurance policy. Now, selling an insurance policy is one thing, but demonstrating that you're the right person that someone should buy from is a whole different story. When a customer approaches you, they don't just look at the product that you have to offer. What they're more interested in is who the person is that is offering the product, because ultimately it is this person that they're going to put their faith and belief in. Once they are convinced that this is the right person that they are speaking to, only then does the product actually start to take hold of them. It is important to understand that you need to become aware of your own beliefs, your own thoughts, and your own feelings in order to change and develop your personality. Now, the process of self-development is not a straight line. There might be things that you are good at, and there might be things you're not so good at. What is important to remember is that this journey is about capitalizing on what you're good at, and what you're not so good at, work on improving every day. For example, if you feel that your communication is weak, then what you need to do is clearly improve your communication. If you feel you're not able to pitch a sales correctly, then what you need to do is practice your sales pitch over and over. As you keep practicing and improving your own self, your own personality, what will happen is you will develop a kind of an aura which will attract the right people towards you, the right customers towards you. Last but not least, if you do not develop as a person, it will be very difficult for you to master the sales process. If you do not develop, you will not become a master salesman or a master of anything for that matter. Therefore, personal development plays a very crucial role in making sure that you have career success. The master within. We are very habituated to blaming problems on the outside world. I want you to try a different approach. Look within. Instead of blaming situations that are there and that are happening outside, for change, try and reflect on the situation within. What is your mindset? What is your approach towards a problem? Now, what are the benefits of thinking this way? When you start to look within yourself, the chances of you finding solutions is more easy and more possible rather than blaming outward situations. For example, say you're trying to sell something and a customer says no. You can blame a customer for that, yes. But if probably you change something about yourself, then your chances of being successful with another customer are higher. Successful people are able to look for solutions within, irrespective of their surroundings. They avoid blaming people or situations for the situation, They avoid blaming people and situations for their experiences. It is this attitude that ensures that they are successful. What we'd like to do now is do a short activity to try and understand what are the thoughts and emotions that cross our own mind and hinder our personality. So think of any problem that you faced in your life and try and jot down at least 3 things or 3 negative or limiting beliefs that crossed your mind when you faced this problem. The problem could be anything. It doesn't have to be something very specific, but any everyday problem. Think of 3 things that crossed your mind the moment you faced this problem. Take a minute to write these down and that there were very clear indications or there's a very clear cycle that happens the moment you face a problem. There are immediate negative beliefs, negative thoughts, negative feelings that immediately arise the moment you think of a negative solution. Now this is a type of thinking. It is not it's not something that just happens all by itself. We have taught ourselves to behave and to think this way. Now it is up to us to change these things. So the next question obviously is, how do we change this? Now think of the same problem that you use in the activity, but think of 3 things that you would like to do different. Change your perception about the problem. Instead of thinking in limiting ways, try and figure out what are the reasons why what you thought is wrong. So for example, if there was something you failed at, try and find out at least 3 reasons why you could succeed, right? So take a minute and complete this activity. So if you've completed the activity, you must have seen you had the same problem, but at both times you were able to find failures and you were able to find successes. You were able to identify the problems, you were able to identify the solutions. The point is very simple. It is up to you whether you have a problem, or it is up to you whether you have a solution. It is finally up to you. I'm sure you've all have heard of the phrase intelligence quotient or IQ, right? It is something that we are all very familiar with. But I'm not so sure if you've heard of EQ, which is emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. Now, this is something that is a very important aspect, not just in sales, but as in your career as a whole. What is emotional intelligence? Let's try and understand the whole concept of emotional intelligence. First of all, as the name suggests, emotional intelligence is intelligence with emotions. Now, it is not about being sentimental or getting too involved in emotions, but it talks about your awareness of your own emotions, your ability to handle those emotions, and the awareness of other people's emotions, and the ability to handle other people's emotions. So if you see, this is a very vast subject and a very interesting subject because, believe it or not, all human beings are emotional. Okay. The most successful people are not the ones with high IQ, but with high EQ. Poor emotional awareness means you will not be aware of your own emotions. You will not be able to have self-control over your emotions. And therefore, you will not be able to understand and manage the emotions of your customers. Emotionally intelligent people find it easier to handle relationships, both personal and professional. Here's a formula which I think would help you. Internal emotional awareness plus self-control equals emotional intelligent individual. So here's something that will really help you put this into perspective. Internal emotional awareness plus self-control equals emotional intelligent individual. External emotional awareness plus external emotional management equals success at sales. As we understand ourselves, we will understand others. As we understand how to gain self-control, we will learn how to manage others. We cannot master our relationships with others if we do not master our own emotional states. We will not be able to approach other people or negotiate a sale. Sales and negotiation is primarily about understanding people and what they need. 4 steps to optimism. It is very important to understand the concept of optimism while in the sales process. We have to understand that being a pessimist at sales could lead to failure, while being an optimist could guarantee success. I'm sure you all have heard of the saying that the glass is half empty, and that's what a pessimist usually does. He looks at the glass half empty, but an optimist, on the other hand, would say the glass is half full. Now, the important thing to understand is, in the sales process, it's always about looking for an opportunity. If you do not find that opportunity, then you might lose out on a sale. The good thing about being an optimist is that you always look for the glass that is half full, which is you're always open to opportunity. Another positive thing about being an optimist is that it will help you focus on your future goals. If you think of your goals and you think of them from a pessimistic perspective, then clearly they will not feel very motivating. You will not feel the desire to do it, right? So being an optimist will help you focus on that future that you really want to build. Now here's an activity that I would like you guys to do. It's called the personal development sheet. List down any 3 goals that you want to achieve in life. Any 3 goals of your choice. They could be personal or career related. Try to get into a little bit of specifics about how you want the goal to materialize. Now, if you do not have specifics, then that's fine. But try to be as specific as possible as long as you feel comfortable. Refer to this sheet on an ongoing basis, maybe not every day, but once a week or once a month. How will this help you? Over time, you will realize that as you meet your goals, you will see that the fact that you wrote them down and the fact that you wanted to achieve them actually helped you materialize it. And that is the whole point of an optimistic approach. Developing a state of mind. What we're going to do now is discuss 4 steps which you can apply in order to ensure that you develop the right state of mind. These steps will ensure that you are mentally prepared to enter a sales conversation. It will ensure that the jitters that you feel while you try and make conversation with a potential customer are maybe not gone away, but at least you have more confidence that you can overcome them. The key here is to practice. It is not a one-day thing that you just learn something and then you can do it. The key to be successful with these steps is to keep practicing them. One of the things to remember is that it is impossible to sell to a customer if you are in a negative state of mind. What these steps will do is try and get you out of that negative state of mind and more into a positive and successful state of being, which will ensure that you're able to approach a sales conversation more confidently and convince customers more easily. So the first step to develop your state of mind is awareness of negative thoughts and emotions. Always practice becoming aware of your own state of mind. When you feel negative, pause and recognize the feeling you are feeling. Accept the way you are feeling and don't get impatient with it. It is this awareness of your negative thoughts and emotions that will put you in a situation where you will be more aware and be in a position where you can tackle them, and which will lead to step 2. Step 2. Detachment from negative thoughts and emotions. Remind yourself that you are not your thoughts and emotions. You do not need to identify with them or call them yours. You have the power to choose how you want to feel. They are yours, but you are not them. This is a very enlightening fact where we usually associate our thinking and emotions and we identify with them saying that they are ours, but that is not necessarily true. Just because a thought crosses your mind, then that doesn't make it yours. You have the ability to detach from it. You should not fight these negative emotions. Instead, you should learn to overcome them and not pay any attention to them by following step 3. Step 3. Redirect your attention. Repeat a thought in your mind that you want to experience. Repeat the feeling that you wish to feel. Remember the success feeling activity we did in the beginning of the module? Try and remember the feeling of your past successes and the joy you felt. Now, every time you encounter negative thoughts and feelings, you continue the train of thought to your desired positive end. Step 4. Repetition with conviction. Just repeating a new idea once may not solve your problem. You might have to repeat it and really believe and feel. This is why it is important to use your previous successes in order to imprint a new way of thinking. An example for repetition with conviction could be to recall previous successes of a large loan application. Self-talk. What you say to yourself every day makes all the difference. If you are in a negative state of mind and your self-talk is negative, then you enter into a conversation with someone else with that same state of mind. Besides, what you tell yourself every day decides who you are. It is that voice in your head that makes all the difference. It is important to remember that your own conversations should not be self-defeating. They should not lack confidence or rigor. Self-talk forms a very crucial part in the lives of all successful people. A negative state of mind leads to poor self-talk, while a positive state of mind leads to positive self-talk. As you get more aware of your own state of being, you will start to see the thoughts and emotions that cross your mind, and you will start to see how it is this thoughts and emotions that are leading to either a negative or a positive self-talk. As you get better at becoming aware and redirect your attention on the positive side of things, your own self-talk will transform. Here are a few examples of how we can change our own self-talk. For example, a negative self-talk would say, "I'm afraid I will fail today." In order to transform that into something positive, you could say, "I let go of this feeling of fear. I have had many successes in the past and will have many in the future." Another example of negative self-talk could be, "I feel I have not prepared for today's meeting." A positive response could be, "I'm just nervous. I have prepared as much as I could. I'm sure that I will do well." Now here's an activity that I would like you guys to do. Think of the top 5 things that cross your mind which are mostly negative, that you really want to get rid of. List down these 5 things and change the ending of these thoughts. What you could do is, instead of concluding at where the thought ends, go on and finish that thought to something nice, something that you really want. Understanding your customer. Understanding your customer plays a very crucial part in the sales process. As we have discussed, we need to understand a customer's core beliefs so that we can identify their needs and then ensure that our product takes care of those needs. In the process of understanding a customer, it is very important to also know what your customer really desires. If you're not able to pinpoint his exact need, there are chances that a customer might actually feel offended. For example, if a customer is already zeroed in on a house, then it doesn't make sense to push him to buy another loan. Why do we buy? We buy to solve problems, right? We buy to make sure that some need of us is satisfied. whether it's clothing, whether it's shelter, whether it's travel, whether it's entertainment. Some need or the other needs to be satisfied. That's the reason we buy. The purchase process. We need to understand how our customers make the decision to buy. We can understand this by referring to the item model. The item model, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action, is an advertising effect model that identifies the stages that an individual goes through during the process of purchasing a product. The first part of the item model is attention. This is when a product grabs our attention. Second, interest. Then it's when something resonates with a customer's core belief. It inspires a thought or an emotion that arouses the interest of a customer. Desire. The resonance leads to a desire to want the product so that either one or more of our core beliefs are fulfilled. Action. Here we finally take the action that would fulfill our desire. Let's look at an example. You get a notification from Amazon about some sales with up to 50% off on footwear. You've been wanting to buy formal shoes and hence decide to open the app and check the offers. At this point, your attention has been aroused. Now you see a pair of shoes that you like and at 50% discount as well, which arouses your interest even more. You will also notice customer reviews which are very positive. At this stage, your interest is at its peak. As you think to yourself, you realize that wearing these shoes align with your core beliefs because they will match with your formal wear and will make you look smart and professional at your workplace. This is where the desire to buy the shoes is born. Finally, you know that such offers are rare and click to buy the product. This is the final action step. Alignment. Sales success is all about aligning with your customer goals. If a customer is interested in a product, but if it does not align with his interests, then he might lose interest. The core beliefs that we are trying to understand and satisfy need to be in alignment with what the customer wants. So there will be your product needs that your product can meet, and then there will be the customer requirements. Once the two are aligned, that is when there will be success at sales. Now here's an activity that I would like you to do. What do you think about the housing loan product of your company? Try and answer the following questions. What do you think about the housing loan features? How do you feel about the housing loan? What core belief would stop you from buying the housing loan? If I had to sell you this housing loan, what core beliefs would I need to address? Would you like to change something about the product feature? Would you be willing to change something about yourself so that you can then buy the product? Take a few minutes and complete this activity. Customers do not like change. We as human beings are very hesitant to change. Although change is a constant, we do not want to change so easily. It is the same with a customer when he wants to buy a product. No one goes out into the market to buy a product that they have to change for. They want something that will fit into their lives. So it is very important to be successful at sales to understand that whatever we are selling or we are convincing a customer does not involve them changing, because the moment they are asked to change, then immediately there is a resistance. Your ideal customer. A major part of the sales journey is about identifying who the right customer is for you. We are not meant to sell our products to everyone, but it is very important to identify who the right buyer is. Most often than not, customers who buy from you will share the same thought-based beliefs, emotional-based beliefs, or overall core beliefs with you. It is these customers that you need to identify and target so that you are successful at sales. Potential customer personality. There are 3 steps you can follow in order to find a potential customer. Look for people who have already purchased the product. Find reviews or feedback data as much as possible. You can get this information from your sales or marketing team. You can survey a potential client list. You can check online reviews and feedback. You can check if there is any research available. You can check out your competitors and whom they are targeting. Step 2. What shared thought-based beliefs do they have? Step 3. What shared emotion-based beliefs do they have? Step 4. What combined core beliefs do they have? You can then use this information and analyze what thoughts, emotions, and core beliefs these people have in common. You can also get information like age, sex, job title, hobbies, interests, etc. By doing this activity, you can easily find out what your customer personality is. You can get this information easily and analyze it easily as well. You can predict objections and prepare for them accordingly. You can close the sale quicker. Here is an example. I went on Amazon and looked at customer feedback and reviews for a cell phone. This is what I found. Positive thought-based reviews. Good design, lightweight, and good battery life. Positive emotion-based reviews. Great value for money. Positive emotion-based reviews. Then I found a negative thought-based review. It said it takes too long to charge. There was also a negative emotional-based review, which said product was damaged. I was also able to find a negative core belief, which said product took too long to arrive. After this activity, I was able to come to the following synopsis. Customers are looking for good design, lightweight, long battery life at low cost. The product should not be damaged and arrive as early as possible. Now, using this information, we could come to our own sales pitch, which will sound something like this. Our cell phone is of a futuristic design, lightweight, and with an extended battery life as compared to most models available in the market today. You will be notified of the exact delivery date when you place the order. In case of any damages during delivery, a replacement will be sent to you ASAP at no extra cost. So I just shared with you an activity that I did. Now I would encourage you to do the same activity. Pick any product, go on Amazon, pick any product and find out the top thought-based, emotional-based and hard-held core beliefs. Once you find these out, you can actually figure out what your customers are really happy about and what your customers are not happy about. Using this information, you can then make your own synopsis. And from this synopsis, you can form your own sales pitch. Product confidence. Product confidence plays a very crucial role in sales success. If you're not confident about your product, you will not be able to convince another person that the product is worth it. I'm sure you all have noticed that as human beings, we only like to talk about something that we are really interested in or something that we really like. Product confidence makes sure that we get that confidence, that boost that we need when we talk to a customer. You cannot sell to a customer a product that you do not have confidence in. You cannot sell to a customer a product that you do not believe in. It is therefore imperative to first gain as much knowledge and confidence about your product as possible. This involves not just studying your product in depth, but also solving all doubts you have about your product. Once you develop this kind of product confidence, it will automatically change your tone, your mannerism, your body language, and give you that extra confidence that you need when you approach a customer. The moment a customer expresses some doubt, you will not hesitate to answer that query. Become a product expert. Product confidence is all about becoming a product expert first. Once you know the ins and outs of your product, it will be easier for you to find out what a customer really needs and align the exact benefit of your product with a customer. You have to become an expert about your product. Your product confidence will build trust. Your confidence will build your reputation, and your reputation will attract more customers. Becoming an expert about your product does not stop at just knowing your own product. It is also important to know what your competition has to offer. You will be selling one product, but your customer has exposure to multiple products. So it is important to keep tabs of what your competition is up to. The moment a customer might say that I'm getting a better offer from somewhere else, it is up to you to understand what the customer's real need is and how you can offer something better. In most cases, customers usually say that they get a cheaper product somewhere else. Now, this might be true or it might not be true. However, what you could do in such a situation is explain about the quality of product and the better lifespan. Let's do a quick activity to check our confidence about our own product. I would like you to ask yourself these questions and write down the answers. Question 1. Do you really feel that your product meets customer needs? Do you feel your product delivers on its promises? Are you an expert on your product? Are you an expert on your competition? Do you feel enthusiastic while talking about your product? If not, then why not? You could discuss these pointers with your managers so that they can help you dispel doubt. Make a list of these pointers and use them during your sales pitch. This will help you gain more product confidence.